The South African people, the South African government should not be worried or should not have certain concerns on how we are going to handle this issue. We are a very organized nation. We are a very great nation in as far as issues to do with the law are concerned. We are going to handle this. We have got huge capacity to handle this. In any case, this is not the first time that we are handling such an issue. It looks like there is some concern because people are, or maybe in South Africa is our friend, of course, we respect them, we appreciate them. But it looks like there is some sort of looking at us with eyes that are putting on lenses that are making us look smaller. Yeah, you might look at us that way, but I can assure you, in as far as the law is concerned, we are much bigger than most of the countries in the world. We have one of the finest judicial systems. So you don't have to really panic. You need to relax. We are going to follow the law, and everything is going to be done very well, and justice will prevail.
Hello and welcome back to Kibri's Got Talent. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, go on and subscribe. We are full of news. Our news feed is too much. We release news once upon a time, and the wish is reliable. You can follow us at all times, and you can rely on the news we put out on this channel. We are among the news industries. You can rely on their positivities. Here is the headline of today's news. Bushiris returning to South Africa may take 1 year at least. And what is Sadc binding Malawi and South Africa? Sadc, if you must know the meaning for those of you who are still missing out with all the information and the news feed hovering on all the social media regarding the case of Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary Bushiri. Sadc stands for Southern African Development Community. And what is this? Southern African Development Community is an intergovernmental organization headquartered in Gaborone, Botswana. Its goal is to further socio-economic cooperation and integration, as well as political and security cooperation among 16 African countries. So, Sadc headquarters is in Botswana. So you may want to know the 16 countries within Sadc. The Southern African Development Community, Sadc, is a regional economic community comprising 16 member states. Listen to them: Angola, Botswana, Comoros, Democratic Republic of Congo, Eswatini, Lesotho, Madagascar, Malawi, Mauritius, Mozambique, Namibia, Seychelles, South Africa, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So the reason for the 16 member countries is to agree on some issues since they are within that region, and of course extradition is within their agreement. The main objectives of Southern African Development Community are to achieve economic development, peace, and the security and the growth, alleviate poverty, enhance the standard and the quality of life of the peoples of Southern Africa, and they support the socially disadvantaged through regional integration. Looking at the case of extraditing Bushiri back to South Africa, Malawi Minister for Homeland Security Richard Chimwendo Banda, having signed the extradition papers for both Shepherd and the Mary Bushiri, and they sent to the Attorney General to take the document to the Malawi High Court in Lilongwe to rule for the warrant of arrest of Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary Bushiri. Despite this step taken, it seemed that the Bushiris' influentiality is affecting decisions, and they continue to delay the extradition process in Malawi. And as a result of this, the South African authorities have panicked and they questioned the Malawian authorities time after time. Please listen to my affiliate Ahmed TV reporting.
Minister for Homeland Security Richard Chimwendo Banda has signed the extradition papers for Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary. This is a step closer to securing the extradition of Prophet Bushiri and his wife, who contravened their bail conditions and fled South Africa last November. According to the Minister of Information, Gospel Gazako, the Attorney General will be taking the documents to court to rule for the warrants of arrest of the Bushiris, a decision at the behest of the court.
The minister responsible, this is the Minister for Homeland Security, has signed the documents, and the Attorney General will be taking these documents to the High Court in Lilongwe. What they are seeking for the issuance of the warrants of arrest for the Bushiris. So yeah, there's some movement. And at the moment, we don't know what the court will say, or what the court will rule, or what the court will decide. In this country, we have an independent judiciary. What the state has done is to make the necessary submissions for the court to look at them. And it is in the same vein that we may also not be able to know until when the court will rule, because, as you know, Malawi has an independent judiciary. So it might be done maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. We are yet to hear. But this has been submitted to the High Court this afternoon.
South Africa sent the formal extradition request on the 4th of December, requesting Malawi to abide by the Sadc protocols to return the Bushiris to face trial in South Africa. A former Deputy Director of Public Prosecution at the NPA, Advocate Johan Dutoit, says South Africa has a solid case to have the Bushiris extradited.
We also got a bilateral treaty between Malawi and South Africa. So our legal basis is based on two premises. The one is the bilateral treaty that we have with Malawi, and the other one is the regional treaty that we have as part of Sadc countries. So our legal basis to request for extradition is very, very sound in law. And I, with due respect, I don't know how Malawi will get out of this. The legal basis is very solid.
He says though South Africa has a case, the extradition takes up to a year for the guilty party to be returned to the country.
I think at least if it's in dispute, I think from my practical experience, it will at least take a year for everything to be done.
He says what favors South Africa is the regional treaties signed between South Africa and other Sadc countries.
What is in our favor at the moment is that we have a bilateral and a regional treaty with Malawi. That is why the minister is now responsible for dealing with that. As I said in the beginning, if that is not the case, then the president must get involved to give the green light, and that can sometimes cause even more delay, because the relation between the two countries are maybe not so well. They don't have treaties, so that is why you have to go up to the level of the president to give the green light. But in this instance, when I was at the NPA, we've also asked for extradition, to Malawi, and they've granted it to us. I think I'm not a politician, so I don't know what really happens between closed doors. But as you can see from the statement issued by our Minister of Justice, he said that he's very encouraged. There's a good cooperation between the two countries, and hopefully that will not cause a problem.
However, Bushiri's lawyer Wapona Kita has a different opinion.
The Sadc treaty to be brought to a test within the Malawi judicial system, because the mere fact that we signed that treaty does not automatically mean that it is part of the laws of Malawi. According to our constitution, it's supposed to be domesticated under section 211 of the constitution. So perhaps when this matter goes to court, that should be one of the arguments which perhaps the lawyers will have to tussle, whether the Sadc protocol, the Sadc treaty, is part of the laws of Malawi, which can be used for purposes of extradition in this particular case. Beyond that, beyond the Sadc treaty, there is an extradition act which governs all sorts of extraditions in Malawi with regard to countries which have got arrangements when it comes to extradition.
You heard it. At the moment, the Bushiri side do not know what the court will say, or what the court will rule, or what the court will decide. This is actually the part that caused the SA authorities to panic. Why won't it be clear of what the court shall rule? Extradition process should end at taking Bushiri back to South Africa, supposedly, but the Bushiris side and his attorney have not been given direct or reliable responses to the South African authorities in the later days. The South Africans continue to worry about having Bushiri back, which may likely take up to 1 year, and it may have a stop on the road. Notice that the former Deputy Director of Public Prosecution and the MPI advocate said, "With due respect, I want to say I don't know that Malawi will get out of the legal basis." Notice also the Bushiris lawyer, Wapo Nakita, said, "We signed a treaty does not mean that it is part of the laws of Malawi." So with this being said, you can now think like every other person who was believing that Bushiri will never return to South Africa to be judged, to attend court hearing, or to be tried in South Africa, following what Wapo Nakita said, the Bushiris lawyer. So he calls Sadc nothing. In other words, Sadc, which I have mentioned to you the meaning and what it stands for, binds the 16 member states to cooperate. But you can see that this cooperation is not coming exactly how South Africa authority is looking at it. More so, Gospel Kazako, Malawi government spokesperson, he is the Minister of Information. He said, the South African people, the South African government should not be worried or have certain concerns about how we are going to handle this issue. He addressed the panic going on in South Africa and identified certain areas why South African government and her people have to confine in Malawi.
Let me mention this. The South African people, the South African government should not be worried or should not have certain concerns on how we are going to handle this issue. We are a very organized, very organized nation. We are a very great nation in as far as issues to do with the law are concerned. We are going to handle this. We have got huge capacity to handle this. In any case, this is not the first time that we are handling such an issue. It looks like there is some concern because people are, or maybe in South Africa is our friend, of course, we respect them, we appreciate them. But it looks like there is some sort of looking at us with eyes that are putting on lenses that are making us look smaller. Yeah, you might look at us that way, but I can assure you, in as far as the law is concerned, we are much bigger than most of the countries in the world. We have one of the finest judicial systems. So you don't have to really panic. You need to relax. We are going to follow the law, and everything is going to be done very well, and justice will prevail. I think there will be need for Bushiri to be sent to South Africa, to be extradited to South Africa. He will be extradited to South Africa. And that decision will have been done or would have been made using the law. If there will also be no need for us to extradite Bushiri to go to South Africa, it will also be something that would have been done because of what the law says. So you really don't have to panic.
Minister, you can prove it to us in this way. We were not able to keep Bushiri in our country. He was able to escape. That's one of the reasons I think South Africans are so cynical. He's not able to escape your country, right? You'll make sure that doesn't happen.
No, I think if he escaped your country, you must know that he doesn't come from your country. Bushiri escaped from your country to come to this country. And this is where he is safe. This is his home. If Bushiri thought that this is not his destination, or probably he was not going to be safe, or probably he could have been planning to escape, then he probably couldn't have come here. He chose here because he's safe. He chose here because this is his home. So I do not think that it puts a very good argument that because he escaped from your country, then you think we have no capacity to look after him. But in any case, at the moment, we don't have to look after him because he's a free person in this country according to our laws. The courts had ruled that he'd be free. You know, he was under arrest, he was arrested, he spent a night in the cooler, but our courts said this man is a free man. So he's living freely in this country. And he's not living freely in this country because we just want to do that or we just don't want to do that. No, it's because that's what the law says. And that's what we believe in. We are a country that believes in the law. So you don't have to panic. You really have to relax. And let me also take this opportunity to say this, that we look at South Africa as our great partner, our great friend, and we are aware that our president was there. President Lazarus Chakwera was there in South Africa, cementing our relationship. And at the moment, I know the South African media is doing all it can to create a narrative that there is an overstretching of some sort in our diplomatic relationship. There isn't any. Our diplomatic relationship is as healthy as it has been for so many years. And look, we cannot overstretch or injure our relationship because of one citizen. Remember, you have about 60 million people in South Africa, and our population here is about 19 million. This is an issue involving one person. I think it will not be wise for the two nations to look at it from an angle where we have to stretch our diplomatic relationship. That's not how we are looking at it. The two countries are happy with each other. The two governments are doing what they're supposed to do. The two judicial systems will be doing what they're supposed to do, and all the prosecuting authorities certainly will be relating to each other and making sure that whatever is being done is following the law and that justice must be brought out and everyone must see that justice is being done.
Minister, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you. Gospel Kazako is the government spokesperson, the information minister for the government of Malawi.